So, but that's not all. The real challenge is also how can we develop AI-based products efficiently and ethically? Is that possible? There are many SMBs, or in our region we call it pymes, that probably may be interested, or small entrepreneurs on, okay, I want to work on AI, but how can I ensure that my product is responsible, is ethical? Locally, we have IDB again as a great partner. They have been working in the IDB lab uh, for for uh, for many months and maybe years, developing products to help these entrepreneurs to test if their products, AR products, are ethical or not. So I'm not going to explain more. I will leave you with the experts. So I will leave you with Cesar Sayid Rosales, the project manager at Fairlack Entrepreneurland Journey, and Mara Balestrini for IDB Lab. This is going to be a master session, but this is going to be a fantastic session. You know why? This is going to be a demo session of the tool IDB has created precisely to embed ethics in your AI-based products. So please enjoy it.
After having stopped attending my 2-year-old daughter's swimming classes for several months due to the pandemic, this month we resumed classes. It was so much fun going back to the pool with her. However, at some point, I observed that all the children were diving, but mine didn't want to do, even though she had previously done so frequently. I asked the teacher, what could I do? And he told me that to achieve this, the most important thing was to project confidence, and she will do so without crying or swallowing water. After a few minutes of play, I explained to her what we were about to do, and on the count of 3, we submerged without much problem. Although a few classes have passed, her dives are now a fundamental part of how we have fun, and for her, a critical element in learning how to swim. This story shows how trust can help us do more and go further with less friction. Trust with partners, investors, customers, users, employees. Operating under trusted environments is much more efficient, agile, and sustainable than anything else. To achieve this trust, it is necessary to include ethical principles such as justice, privacy, transparency, explainability, and accountability, among many others, in the development of products and solutions based on AI and data management. My name is Cesar Rosales, and I'm project manager at IDB Lab for the initiative FAIRLAC.
My name is Mara Balestrini, and I'm a senior advisor in digital transformation and experimentation in IDB Lab. Now, a key concern is, how do we bring all these principles together, accountability, trust, into the development of an AI solution, a product, and a business model? To respond to this question, we created the ethics self-assessment framework and a digital tools that allows CEOs and developments to ensure that they can include all these dimensions and this into the development and the conceptualization of the tools that or services that they are developing. Much of this information is included in a report that you can download by scanning the QR code here. It explains how we worked together with entrepreneurs and with CEOs and investors to somehow conceptualize a tool that they could easily use to embed all these principles into their solutions. And FAIRLAC is much more than just this tool. We, on the one hand, we try to create knowledge and connections that help entrepreneurs to embed ethical principles into their solutions, making them as important as the ESGD principles. This is what we call the ESGD plus D which stands for digital, trying to create a new standard that takes digital ethics into the best practice, as important as those pertaining to the ESG, environmental, social, and governance standard. We also produce, to embed these principles and these information into the community, we also produce master classes to share our knowledge and to co-produce more knowledge. We have a Train the Trainers program that tries to embed this knowledge into the community by helping to somehow build up the skills of mentors who will accompany entrepreneurs throughout the process of developing their tools, but also using our frameworks. And we also have acceleration programs for startups. In fact, what we do is try to collaborate with existing acceleration programs, bringing together what we call the ethics module, which is a readily available set of knowledge and tools and that can be included in a plug and play fashion into acceleration programs to ensure that we equip those programs with best practice in terms of ethics of digital technologies.
So what do we do? At IDB Lab, we primarily test innovative solutions and support the development of innovation ecosystems through financing, knowledge, and connections. Most of the work that we are currently undertaking at IDB Lab is based on thematic platforms, just like the initiative FAIRLAC, which is a platform that aims at promoting the ethical use of artificial intelligence. So basically what we have achieved at FAIRLAC is to create the largest regional public-private partnership to promote the ethical use of AI and data handling through the co-creation of practical tools for entrepreneurs that has already been proven in Latin America and Europe, with over 10 academic and acceleration programs in the US, Latin America, Europe, and Israel.
So with the tools that we are developing, we want you to stay ahead of the curve. We want entrepreneurs in the region to be able to develop trustworthy technology, taking into account a holistic view to support the development of these solutions that use AI technologies. We also want to use this to attract responsible investments and to prepare the entrepreneurs for coming regulations that might change the legal landscape in relationship to technical solutions and the use of AI. All in all, we want to prevent unwanted harm. Our approach is that of risk mitigation. We want to prevent that the technologies that are deployed in the region create damage or amplify existing gaps and inequalities. And we also want to avoid reputational issues or costly penalties that come when legal and ethical considerations are not taken into account. So the ethical assessment tool that we have developed comprises 3 big dimensions. Within each of these dimensions, a series of questions are developed that help to guide entrepreneurs throughout the process of self-assessment, honestly asking themselves, is there taking into account the multiple ramifications that AI solutions can have? These questions, as I said before, are comprising 3 key dimensions. The first one is solution, the second one is system, and the third one is society. And now we will explain what is involved in all 3 of these dimensions.
So we'll go first with the solution dimension. This dimension has 3 main components. The first one is concept and design, to ensure that there is ethics by designing into the development of the production or in the product or the solution that entrepreneurs are developing. The second aspect is governance. We want to make sure that there are proper governance, institutional arrangements so that entrepreneurs can properly oversee their operations and what's the impact of their solution into real environments. And third, we have security, which is critical and cross-cutting theme throughout this tool. Basically, the main question here is to say, okay, we have a company, the company has a mission, we need to acknowledge what is the mission and also identify some key ethical principles that the company would like to pursue. For example, being transparent or allowing the solution to be explainable, accountable, etc. Then it's important to identify some relevant trade-offs. For example, if you're a company worried about preserving the privacy of its users, etc., it might follow that the company implements some data minimization strategies. At the same time, these data minimization strategies can limit the available data for research and development, even to try to tackle important biases from the product. So these trade-offs are important to acknowledge and set off trade-off limits so that the company knows how to act and to react into certain specific scenarios. We have an example here from a company that has undergone this ethical AI self-assessment framework in the field of childcare and education in Mexico. They developed a chatbot for respectful parenting, and this is a very early stage company. They have been able to set an action plan in their company to include all these ethical principles. And perhaps most importantly is that they have been able to project trust into angel investment, so that they finally decided to put money into the company because they knew it was a reliable company with a reliable product that would minimize certain risks.
The second dimension is what we call system, and it comprises most of the technical aspects of your solution. Here, the auto assessment tool tries to ask relevant questions, focusing in three specific things. The first one is the human-computer interaction aspects. The user interface that is being proposed, supporting people in terms of augmenting their behavior, providing information that helps them make better decisions, empowering the user, or is aimed at automating transactions, and it behaves like a black box, not leaving much room to the user to make sense of what is happening in the background and how the technology is working or how it's coming up with a given answer. The second aspect pertains to the data. What is the type of data that is being used for this solution to work? Is it sufficient? Is there a data integrity plan? Are we sure that the data that we're being used is sufficient? Is data being stored in a way that is reliable, in a way that is safe? Is this data interoperable? Can we improve the interoperability of the data and the solution? And also the questions comprising here address finally aspects pertaining to the algorithms in itself. Are these algorithms able to prevent biases, errors, and discrimination? Have these aspects been taken into account? Have these algorithms been tested? Is there a method for ensuring that such biases and errors are prevented? And also, is the solution transparent? Have aspects such as the explainability of the system being addressed? All these aspects have to be considered, taking into account the AI life cycle, and to ensure that the solution is not only conceptualized in a way that takes these aspects on board, but also that throughout the life cycle of the entire solutions, these issues can be systematically assessed and addressed, and the actions can be taken to prevent any undesired outcomes. We also have an example on how this can have a positively impact the solution provided by a startup. This is an example from a startup in the health sector in Brazil. They have been part of our first cohort using this tool. This startup is producing a product aimed at helping medical employees or doctors to make assessments diagnosis based on X-rays and scans. And basically, what they have done what they have changed after going through the process of self-assessment is improving the explainability of their system in order that they better equip doctors in making the right decisions based or supported by their algorithms. So they have improved the explainability by adding in this example, you can see they add a percentage that explains or demonstrates the level of precision of the algorithm with regards to this diagnosis. This information is important because rather than telling the doctor what an answer should be, what the diagnosis should be, it tells them the percentage of the guess. And therefore, the user is more equipped to make a decision whether they should trust or at what level they should trust the answer provided by the system or disregard it. And this is something that's it's very important in terms of empowering users and also in terms of helping users assess the levels of accuracy and potential risks associated to using decision-making processes supported by algorithms.
So finally, we go to society. And this dimension of society is perhaps one of the most important for the framework because it aims at identifying who is benefit and who is being discriminated or affected by the solution. Most of the solutions, in principle, they are created to improve living conditions of people, to facilitate any process for any company, etc. But most of the time, there are some aspects that, if not taken into account properly, might amplify certain existing biases, gaps, inequalities, etc. So this is very important for us. We have a couple of methodologies that we include into how to identify these vulnerable populations. And we also take into consideration other relevant aspects like communications or relationship with other stakeholders. So, for example, we have here the case of a GovTech company in Mexico. This has also been very interesting in terms for the control of legal liabilities for the company when working with public sector, because it is very important for the company to make sure that whomever procures their services is well aware of the limitations and calibrates properly the expectations of the outcome of the system. So this is important to, explain to the people why certain algorithms are being used in the public sector, and really control for any unexpected outcome. So this is one example that we like very much from the industry of GovTech, but certainly this also applies to all other industries like health, education, transportation, smart cities, and surveillance, even retail, you name it. This is also something we believe is pretty unique from this tool as opposed to many others, because it includes this societal aspect into the development of this kind of products in private sector. So, yeah.
So now we would like to show you this, the new version of the S3 ethical assessment tool, which is now a web interface. And we aim to put this online as soon as possible, so that all the entrepreneurs in the region that might be interested in going through this process and of ethical assessment, they can do it openly. So if you want to be part of the initial cohort that will be beta testing this tool, you can scan this QR code and leave your contact details there, and we will be approaching you in the next couple of weeks with an URL that allows you to complete, to have access to this tool. And now I'm going to share the screen with you to show you what this tool looks like. After having completed a user profile, where you introduce some basic information about yourself and the startup or the company that you are representing, you will have access to this initial screen that, as you can see, is it's divided into the 3 dimensions that we have just explained: society, system, and solution. We have previously completed this self-assessment so that we can show it to you and demonstrate it very quickly how it shows. But basically, when you first log in and start the process, this will be gray. This is a progress bar that allows you to see how you are providing the answers and you progress towards the completion. In each of the dimensions, you get to you are presented with questions, and you can answer the questions by using the slider here on the right, which is basically a Likert scale that allows you to express how much you disagree or you agree with the statement that is provided. For example, in this case, my AI solution has a clear societal purpose. It creates significant societal benefits for its target users by solving a well-identified societal problem. So you can answer here. You can provide all your answers, and if you have a specific question about that statement, you can send us a comment. I don't understand, for example, understand, and you can submit it. It's important for us because we want to have impact. We want to have feedback to improve this. After you have completed all the statements, you can always go back and see your progress, and you can answer all the questions in all 3 dimensions. And when you are done and this is completed, as you can see here, you can visualize the summary. What is the summary? The summary presents you with information about how well you're positioned in the 3 different dimensions. Provided the answers that I've entered, my solution has a high balance. That means that it's well structured, taking into account the different dimensions. And but this is not meaning that that's it. I have nothing else to do to improve my solution. you can, the system will give you specific recommendations for all the aspects where you were not sufficiently convincing, let's say. So here you can see how per question or statement, it gives you some recommendations, and you can either disregard them, or you can add them to a to-do list, or you can just say that you have already done them. In here, I have left some to be completed here so that I can do them with you. Done, done, and to do. And why this is important is because it will allow you to export a roadmap, meaning a to-do list that, as you can see here, once you have finalized the recommendations list and you have chosen which are the recommendations that you want to take on board, you are provided by this document that identifies the company that you're representing, the person who completed the questionnaire, the result, the summary of the result, how your solution is positioned in the 3 dimensions according to your answers, and the to-do list will demonstrate with high priority, medium priority, and less priority, which are the things that you should do to improve the ethical aspects and the integrity aspects pertaining to the solution that you have created. You can always go back to your solution to revisit what you have done, and our hope is that as people improve and take on board the solutions, they can systematically update the tool and see how they improve in the summary, in the final positioning of the tool in the 3 S's dimensions. Additionally, as more people use this tool and respond the questions, we will be able to have benchmark data so that you can compare how well you are positioned in comparison with other companies that are working in the same vertical or that have similarities or with regards to your company. And this is important because we believe it creates a level of awareness that is relevant for entrepreneurs to see how well they are developing their solutions in relationship with or in comparison to the larger ecosystem in Latin America and the Caribbean.
So that's it. Thank you very much for being here, attending to this session, learning about the framework and the tool. Please go and check it out. We invite you to review it, to send us feedback, to register into the QR that we previously shared. And yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
As we said before, this is a beta version, and we're looking forward to having as many beta testers as possible. Your feedback would be crucial to improve the solution, to make sure that we make the most out of it and that we create value for entrepreneurs that are developing AI solutions aimed at addressing development challenges and aimed at having a positive impact in the region. So thank you very much.
Thank you. See you soon.
Okay, we have advanced a lot during this first session. We have so far explored multiple dimensions for AI to be a positive force. We can do really AI responsibly. And we also saw examples of AI at work. This is not theories. This is not science fiction. It's a reality happening in Latin America.